right, YouTube. It's Mr. Mean coming at you from very sunny Duluth, Minnesota, and it's a nice balmy 44 degrees above Fahrenheit. It's chilly here to say the least, and I like it because I like the cold. I am part polar bear, I do believe. Much to my wife's dismay, she's a southern girl, and it's fucking cold for her. Anyway, today's video du jour was going to be Rune by Robin D. Laws, based off of the very popular video game, which I did not know. So a big thank you to, I believe it was Larry Height, one of my subscribers, who pointed it out that it was based off a video game. I did not know, because nowhere in here that I can find does it mention the video game. So it does talk about video games, but it doesn't mention the specific video game that it's based off of, which it is based off of a video game called Rune, which I didn't know. So this was produced by Atlas Games. Robin D. Laws wrote it. His name's right there on the bottom. And it was by Human Head Studios, which those guys make a lot of video games, or they used to. I'm not sure if they're still in business or not. Anyway, that's not what we're going to review. This will be an upcoming review. I was going to review this, but I got something in the mail today. Something that I've been waiting on for 2+ years. Yes, my friends, I've been waiting that long for this and waiting to do this. I was going to do an unboxing, but I couldn't help myself. I had to open it. I had to look at it. Sorry, my phone decided to ring in the middle. Don't know what that was. Anyway, I've been waiting on this for 2+ years. It is. Let's do it the right way here. This was a Kickstarter that I backed from Modiphius. I was very excited to back it because I was a huge fan of what they did with Mutant Chronicles. If you haven't seen my review of Mutant Chronicles, go back in the archives. It's one of my very first videos, like 2 years ago. Go ahead and take a look at that. I did a review of the core book and the GM screen. I unfortunately was not in a financial situation to back the Kickstarter when they came out. It was Modiphius's first Kickstarter. Chris Birch is the owner of the company, and he was working out of his garage in his house. And since now, they've got a corporate headquarters, and they've gone gangbusters. The board game Thunderbirds, if you remember the old, I think, late 60s, early 70s puppet animated TV show about these world-traveling troubleshooters that use various equipment and ships to fly around the world and rescue people and stuff. It was a very cool show. Anyway, they've done a number of Kickstarter. They did Conan. They're producing Mindjammer, which is coming out with some really cool stuff. Mindjammer uses the Fate system. They've got a bunch of things. Of course, they did Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian, and I have it, and I've done a review on that. Go back and check the archives. I've also done. They've also done, or they are doing John Carter, Warlord of Mars. Which is going to be a slightly different system from their. It's a 2D20 light system. I got a chance to do the play test for it in Beaumont. One of the guys was running it, and I was not particularly impressed. I liked the crunch of the 2D20 system, and when you take some of that crunch away, to me, the system just seems like a. It's not for me. I don't know what to call it. I played 2 sessions of it, and I didn't enjoy it at all. But I do think that typical Modiphius, if you're a fan of John Carter, Warlord of Mars, you're going to love it. And if you're a huge fan of the 2D20 system, you'll probably like this. I just didn't particularly care for the stripped-down version of the mechanics, but that's just me. Your mileage may vary. But today's video du jour, the package that came all the way from across the pond in England to me came in this morning, and the lady at the UPS store where my mailbox is was kind enough to call me and say, "Hey, John, I know you've been looking for this package. It's here. Come get it." I was like, "I'll be right there." And in typical Duluth fashion, nothing is more than 5 minutes away. So I zipped over there and I zipped back home, and now I've opened it, and I want to share it with you. Corvus Belli's Infinity, the role-playing game. This is the core book using the 2D20 system. we're going to go through everything I backed. I backed at the GM level of the Kickstarter, so I've had the PDFs of this for right at a year now, I would think, maybe quite possibly over a year. I don't even remember when I backed this on Kickstarter. It's been so long. But they did a wave 1 and a wave 2, and because I said please combine everything, and I didn't realize that the GM screen wasn't going to be produced until wave 2, I had to wait because the book's been out for a year now. I haven't seen it in the wild. I haven't seen anybody doing any real unboxing. I think I did see one guy did an unboxing, but it was real quick. I haven't seen any reviews of the game. I will do a review of the game because I haven't really had a chance to play it, but I've read quite a bit of it because, like I said, I've had the PDF for quite a while. But I'm a dead tree guy. I want my physical book. Now I'm going to tell you first observations right off the bat of the core book. The Mutant Chronicles book and the Conan book had the tassels in them. This one does not. I'm a little disappointed by that. I would have liked to have seen those. I don't understand. I mean, I paid over $100 for this Kickstarter, and I would have liked to have seen that, but it's okay. This is a beautiful book. If you haven't seen it, if you're a fan of very hard sci-fi, this is a game for you. It's a 2D20 system. If you don't know what the 2D20 system is, go back in my archives and check out the videos. I've done a Modiphius 2D20 video because they use Conan, Star Trek, Mutant Chronicles, all use the 2D20 system. Infinity, they all use the 2D20 system, so that if you know one of those game systems, you pretty much know how to play. They've changed the name of a couple of things, but you pretty much know how to play. This game uses heat instead of threat. And some of their other Modiphius games, they call it threat. Conan calls it threat, they call it doom. Star Trek, I believe, calls it threat, and Mutant Chronicles calls it dark symmetry points. They call it threat in here. It's the same thing. You need tokens, dice, glass beads, poker chips. They sell some tokens that you can buy. I personally do not think they are worth the bang for the buck because you have to order them from England, and just the taxes and importation taxes and stuff is too expensive for some little plastic things. What I will say, though, is if you're an Infinity Miniatures fan, you already have tokens. Use those. Easy enough to use. Just find, 10 or 12 that are the same. You get a bunch of tokens for momentum. All of the games use momentum, so does Infinity, and you can use that. I have a bunch of Infinity tokens that I made myself, and I've bought 1 or 2 of the box sets that come with the cardboard tokens, and then you just use those bottle cap clear plastic sticky things. I've done a review on those too. Go back in the archive and check it, and you just make your own tokens. I have 1-inch punch. You get it at any hobby craft store. You can find the nice Infinity symbol like that on the internet. You can shrink it down to 1 inch, clip it out with that hobby cutter. It's a little punch. You get it at most hobby stores. Michael's has a Hobby Lobby. And then you just put that clear bottle cap sticker on there, and you've got your Infinity tokens for your momentum and or threat, whatever you want to use. These would be good for the momentum, and then what I would use for threat is the symbol of the Combine, because that's the alien invasion force, and everybody, no matter what faction you work for, the Combined is the bad guy. All the factions are fighting. It's a little insight on Infinity if you don't know much about the world. It's a mega corporation, many years in the future. Space travel, spaceships, several different corporations are all vying for power. They're corporations based on the world dynamics. So like U.S. Ariadne is pretty much the U.S. and English forces. Hakazlam is your Middle Eastern. Yuxing is your Chinese and Japanese. They've recently, in the Infinity lore, they've had a split, and the Japanese sectorial forces have broken away. They don't want to be under the yoke of Yuqing. So, and that's all fluff in the game. I'm not sure how much of that is covered in here. I think it's not quite covered because that just happened in the Infinity Miniatures game, which I'm a huge fan of. If you guys don't know, I'm one day going to get my miniatures painted, and I've only played 2 games, and that was years ago. I have not played the new N3 rules. But anyway, I am babbling. If you can't tell, I'm super excited. So I apologize. Go back and rewind and watch a little again. If you miss anything, I'm sorry. I am super excited. I have been waiting on this for like 2 years, maybe more. So I'm super happy to have this in my hand. So this is the core book. The art in here is fantastic. Oops, my screensaver kicked in because I'm recording and it doesn't know that I'm using it. So let me log back in. That's dumb. I guess I didn't move the mouse. That's crazy. I should be recording. It shouldn't do that. I'll have to go into settings and turn that off for future. Just as I had my gaming PC, which is what I normally record all my videos on, is over there. I'm going to be streaming some tabletop RPG games. This might be one of them. And unfortunately, the software that I want to use just doesn't play nice on my gaming PC. I don't know why. It plays wonderfully on the Mac. So I've swapped out the PC for the Mac. And so I'm recording this video because I'm using my nice Scepter 24-inch curved monitor in my HD camera from Logitech. It's a C920, I believe. It's got very good reviews. If you're a budding YouTube video guy and you need a good camera, 60 so bucks, you could probably get it even cheaper now. It's a great camera. It's what I'm recording this video on, and from what I'm seeing, it looks great. But anyway, back to Infinity. So again, back this 2+ years ago, super excited. I hope it's coming through. I love the 2D20 system. I love the crunch. I think next to the Dark Eye, this is my favorite system for different reasons than the Dark Eye. There's a level of crunch in here that speaks to me as a GM, but it's not so crunchy that it bogs the game down. That's my opinion. I'm a huge Savage Worlds fan, and you can't get much easier than Savage Worlds or Dungeon World, the Powered by the Apocalypse, super easy system. But there's a certain amount of crunch I like in my games, and this Infinity provides that crunch. So I do like it. So the book is hardback. It's on nice glossy paper. It feels relatively thick. I should say it doesn't feel relative. It's a little bit on the thin side, but there is no bleeding. There's no seeing through the pages. It's quality paper. They use a nice white and blue with a dark theme that you can see right there, which I really like. If you have the PDF of this, or you're interested in it and you don't want to shell out the and then they don't have the price on here. I'm sure this is $60 plus $69. I wouldn't doubt. I mean, we're looking at 520 pages, including a comprehensive index, some character sheets, and then a bunch of NPCs. There's, I believe, there's a starting adventure in the back. Very, very comprehensive index and table of contents, program templates, character sheets. List all the backers, 504, and I am in there. I did check. Adversaries, running Infinity. It's Game Mastering 101. That's 15 pages of goodness right there. I'm definitely going to read that. And like I said, I've had this as a PDF for at least a year. I can't stand reading PDFs on the screen. As much as I tell budding game developers and game designers and people, send me your stuff in PDF, I'll look at it. I don't want you to incur any extra expense. I hate PDFs. But that being said, I feel bad if a game designer spends their hard-earned, because they're trying to make money. They may have a great full-time job where they make really good money, but in this industry, this is a dog-eat-dog industry, and putting out a book like this is expensive. I mean, these are printed usually in Canada and or China. I believe this one was printed in China, and then shipped to England, and then from there, it doesn't say. I wish it said. This is the second printing, so hopefully they've gotten all the typos, and because I noticed in the early PDFs there were some typos and some spelling errors, so hopefully they've gotten those fixed and corrected and added in whatever needed to be added and deleted whatever needed to be deleted. Hardback, like I said, full color art, lots of just good information in here. I'm trying to find a nice piece of art. The art is all computer generated, it appears. And it's very well done. It's a lot of maps, because this goes through the whole world, or the whole universe of Infinity. They did a very smart thing, and the chapter headings are all kind of black, and it just says the name or whatever. So they didn't go crazy with the art, but they did put in enough art to feel like you got some, you get a feel for the world. Lots of iconography, lots of badges and things like that you would see on like constables or military people, or local law enforcement, in a very dark, gritty feel. Again, like here's a good picture of it. Looks like Hakazlam or U.S. Ariadne guys getting ready. to go do something. So that's the style of art in there. There really isn't any. It doesn't have the level of art like, say, Shattered or Faith. Yeah, see, like this is kind of what you get. So it's just some generic art, for each chapter heading, and this has your full-on character creation rules, everything the GM needs to know. There's some cool art. There's a warrior fighting one of the Moriats from the Combine, which are like their shock troopers. It's like their base combat troopers, and they kind of have red skin. They're brutal. They're mean. They're a slave race to the Combine. The Combine is kind of like an AI that has decided that it's going to purge the universe and everything should bow down to it. And it is going through and just decimating galaxies as it goes through. And so the Aleph are an AI society where they're basically genetically engineered people made by computers. It's a good way to describe it. And Aleph is a longtime enemy of the Combine. And so they come into the human sphere, reach out to us and give us a bunch of technology and say, don't do like we did. Don't try to be an island among men. You need to unite and you need to fight this because it's unrelenting. And they just throw bodies and bodies and bodies. And we're fragmented because in the Infinity Universe, all of these different factions, the Nomads, the Pan-Oceania, the Yu-Ching, they're all vying for power. They're all fighting each other, but yet there's this common threat in space that's coming. And this is what's happening here is only the preliminary. These are they land on Paradisio, which is a planet, and it's a kind of an island on a planet, and there's various factions there, and they just pretty much wipe the planet. And it's just a real light force, but they're so advanced technology and just so aggressive that we didn't know how to deal with them, and so they kind of caught us off guard. But we're fighting back now, and the game goes into all that and tells you all about that. The Infinity Miniatures game, you can buy those miniatures, and your players can make a character and then do whatever with them. So it's kind of cool because it's funny. Infinity the Game, which is infinitythegame.com, is the website. You can go there. You can learn a whole bunch about Infinity Miniatures game, which, by the way, started as an RPG. The guys were playing it, and then they wanted to make a game, but they decided to make a miniatures game, and it's been out for 10 plus years now, and they're in their third revision. They're spitting out books like crazy. They're relatively decently priced, and the miniature quality is phenomenal. Their miniatures are awesome. So if you want good quality miniatures in your RPG and you want to run a sci-fi RPG, this would be the one for you because the miniatures are amazing. They paint up really well. I've got a couple of them. I've got a Yu-Ching faction. I've got a sectorial Japanese faction. And I've got a bunch of Nomads because I'm a Nomad fan, which one of the Kickstarter bonuses was a miniature for your faction. So this guy is the Infinity miniature for that faction, and they give you full stats for him and everything. But I just wanted to show you that I did Kickstart it, and I got an extra miniature. And like I said, he looks awesome, which is really cool because in the Infinity Miniatures game, you can use this as your HVT or your high value target. Certain scenarios require an HVT, and this is a perfect miniature for your HVT. So that being said, I'll throw that on the side. We're going to come back to the main rule book in a minute, but I want to show you some of the other Kickstarters. I got a huge poster. I'm not really wild about the poster. I would have liked a poster that had the cover of the game on one side and then maybe the map on the other. This is Paradisio, and I can't really do it justice because I can't show the whole thing there, but that's Paradisio on one side, and it shows you all the different factions that have areas there. And then on the back is the human sphere. This is basically a map of the universe. I hope you guys can hear me, but unfortunately there's not a whole lot I can do about that. There's cool little iconography up here at the top, but I'm not wild about it. I to be honest, I wish they would have included give me Paradisio, because this map of the inner sphere is on the inside cover of the front and back of the book, so I don't really need that. the Paradiso map is cool because a lot of some of the starting adventures and things you start with are on Paradiso, so that's a win-win. But that cover is just so evocative. It's so cool. I would have liked a big poster of that because you can see I don't have much art on the wall. I got that one poster up over there, and that's only because that's a freebie that I picked up at the game store. So there's the poster. That's a freebie. It's cool. The other thing we got is one of the things that they unlocked with the stretch goals was the Quantronic Heat, which is an adventure, a campaign basically. It's a 3-part campaign, and this is full color again. It's 48 pages, parts 1, 2, and 3, all in here. It's a little, pamphlet. I believe the only place to buy this is you can buy it as a PDF. The physical copy was only for the Kickstarter backers. And again, full art on the interior, maps and everything. Spoiler there if you're playing it. Don't look at it too long. But look at that cover, man. Again, a poster of this instead of what they gave us. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed. This is obviously much better. And really, that's just a cool cover. The artist that they got to do the art for this game, phenomenal. The collector's edition, I got a chance to see one. Buddy of mine got his, and he sent me a couple photos via Discord. And man, you want to talk about cool. The collector's edition of the book is even better. So then the other thing that I unlocked at the GM level was the player's guide. So this is basically what's inside the core rule book. There's a little bit of extra, I don't want to say fluff, and I don't want to say rules, but it's all concentric towards the player character. There's also rules in here if you're an Infinity Miniatures player to convert your characters from Infinity over to the 2D20 system and vice versa. So player's guide including the agent handler guide, the 2D20 to N3 conversion guide. So you can basically convert your Infinity characters over to the N3 miniatures game, and you can play your guy, whatever he may be. Like me, I would probably make a nomad guy, and I can convert him to N3, and he would be legal in the game, which is awesome. So, damn it, I don't know why it's going into sleep mode. It shouldn't be doing that. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it's going into sleep mode. I can't turn it off right now in the middle of the video. But yeah, this is 142 pages. They always put cool art on the inside of their other games that they produce and support. There's the Human Sphere map again. So obviously, we don't need that. They give you full stats for all the miniatures that were released. Expanded character sheet. And like I said, this is just all character creation for the player. So you could bring this with you, and your players don't have to touch your GM book, your hardback book. And this is all the players need. They did, what was cool is they gave you the option to order more of these. And I kind of wish now I'd have gotten at least 2 more. Because like I said, I don't know I'm sure these are available for purchase. But again, another cool cover. I'd have been happy with a poster of that. So I don't want to harp on it too much, but my package did arrive relatively undamaged. The outside of the box was pretty messed up, scratched up, dirty, because it came all the way over from England, but it made good travel time. I got notified about this middle of last week. They told me my package was on its way, so it came today, Tuesday, so pretty excited. A little bit of corner damage on the core rulebook, nothing that I'm going to complain about. It's dinged, but it's not noticeable. It didn't affect the pages, but like the player's book, you can see it won't show up on camera, but you can see there's a bend on the very bottom corner. It's just the box getting banged around. They did package it pretty good. It was inside a bubble wrap sleeve for the core rulebook and all the book stuff, and then the miniature was the dice and everything were inside. So the next thing you get is the GM screen. Now, here's where the cons come in. I am extremely disappointed in the GM screen. It is flimsy. It's wrinkled. The GM screen book is awesome. It's Code Infinity classified. It's a bunch of 32-page booklet containing 2 unique adventures, both including new maps, Wilderness of Mirrors, objectives, and unique villains. A treatise on recreation, those ancient recreations, those ancient heroes reconstructed by LF to once again offer their wisdom and glory to the human sphere. LF, they're masters of cloning, basically, and so they make like Miyamoto Musashi, Achilles, they make all these ancient heroes somehow, and so those are actual NPCs that the players could run into in the game. So this is a nice adventure book and just some splat material. The art in here is fantastic. I mean, very much cool. Who is that? That's Saladin. That's just a character. William Wallace. So again, these are all the historic characters that Aleph has recreated with their DNA. And it's got some cool stuff. Joan of Arc. She's an iconic Pan-Oceana, I believe. I don't know if they give us any. I think that's the only 3 they give us. Yeah. So cool little pamphlet book. Like I said, 48 page or 31 pages. Very, very cool. 2 more adventures. So we're up to 5 adventures. Well, we're up to 4. The Quantronic Heat is 3 adventures making 1 campaign. You could run them separately, I assume, with a little bit of work. So you've got 3 adventures. Here's the GM screen. I love the purple color, but the screen is too dark. I mean, with all these vibrant colors and everything that we have in Infinity, why are you doing such a dark screen? I mean, and it's flimsy. I can bend this with my fingers. I mean, that's not cool. That's not going to hold up very long. And then in the seams, you can see it's wrinkled. You can see this is just, it's very poorly produced. I'm not happy about this at all. The Mutant Chronicles screen was nice and thick. Go back, check my review. I show it over. I mean, that thing would stop a bullet. I mean, anybody could tear apart. Now, I mean, it is pretty light. And like I said, I like the purple, but I think the image is too dark. And it's I guess they're supposed to be from a camera point of view. But I don't dig it. I mean, it's, you have this whole universe of really cool art, and you put this as your cover for the GM screen. I mean, it's too dark. You can't even make anything out. And I have a bright light on in here. You guys can see the follicles on my beard. I mean, this is dark. So I gotta say, Modiphius, you guys, Chris, I love your work. I like where the company has come from and where it's gone. I'm a huge fan of your products. This is a miss. I expected better quality, guys. I'm sorry. I hope you guys redo the GM screen and make it a little thicker. You guys have the money now, obviously, to do great stuff and to make this industry better. I'm not saying this is a bad product, but I'm saying it fails my expectations. This is flimsy. I mean, it's completely folded and I can bend it. I mean, I might as well take a folder and staple some pages to it, and I got the same thing. So really disappointed in the GM screen. That's the only thing I'm disappointed. Everything else I'm pretty happy with. The miniatures, obviously Corvus Belli, they did the miniature for the Kickstarter. Then I got a bunch of dice. So we're gonna go back to the positives. So one of the things that the 2D20 system uses is it uses proprietary dice. And now before you say, oh, proprietary dice, it's another Star Wars. No, they use normal dice, but they have special meaning. So these are the combat dice. You can see that there. And they're just D6s. They have the Infinity logo on them. But 1s, 2s, and 6s, I believe, is the only thing that counts on these. So instead of making a proprietary 3-sided die, they made these. So, and I got 8 of these, which is it's about what you need. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. But I can re-roll. So I've got some for Conan, and I've got some for Mutant Chronicles. Really dig the Mutant Chronicle ones because they're black. Excuse me. These are very nice. I'm very happy with them. I like the design. They do scream future tech. And the ones, so you got 1s. There's a 1 right there. You can see the pip on it. And then there's a 2 right above it, right there. And then, so if you show a number like 3 or 4 or 5, it doesn't mean anything. It's a negative die. It's not negative. It provides no damages. So it's a 0 basically. And then if you roll the infinity symbol, that usually kicks off a special ability of the weapon. Conan does it, Mutant Chronicles does it, John Carter, Warlord of Mars does it. So it's a cool thing. So you get excited when you see those 6s, because if I remember correctly in the Infinity rules, a 6 counts as a hit, as a point of damage as well, and it kicks off a special ability. So if your weapon has special abilities, you want to see 6s, but the 1s and 2s are respective of what they are. So if you roll a 1 and 3 2s and an N or a 6, you've got 2, 4, 6, 7 points of damage plus whatever's built into the weapon, and that 6, I believe, is an extra point of damage, and it kicks off a special ability. If it doesn't give you a extra point of damage, at least I know for sure it kicks off a special ability. So if your weapon has armor piercing 1 and you rolled a 6, you would reduce the person's armor by 1. So cool combat dice, always nice to have. The next thing was, the other thing I got is Infinity uses hit locations, and they're mapped out on the character sheet like games like Warhammer Fantasy does the same thing. 1 to something is a head hit, but they went and they did a special die, and it was only a couple bucks, and so I added one to my collection. You see there, it says head. If I can get it to focus. Come back a little bit. Put it in front of my face. It should. Oh well, you guys get the point. Then I got the Combine dice, which is a purple die because their main color is, and that's the Combine symbol. So really nice dice. I'm pretty sure these are probably done by Q Workshop, but they're nice dice, D20s, and this is a game where you want to roll low. One of the things they didn't do, and I understand why they didn't do it, but in the Infinity, the game, the miniatures game, let's say if arbitrarily you need a 13 to hit. If you roll anything below a 13, it's a hit. But if you roll a 13, if you roll the number you need, it's a critical success. Now, they didn't do that in the role-playing game because the 2d20 system says if you're specialized in a skill, then, however many ranks you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, if you roll that or equal that or less on a d20, that counts as 2 successes. So that's a critical success. So it just would have been nice if they would have kind of carried that over. It would have been super cool. And that might be a house rule that I add to my game, because it gives you, the players, a little bit more chance to succeed, but I would use it for the villains as well. And then, of course, because I chose the Nomad faction, I got the Nomad dice. My screensaver kicked in again. I won't make this mistake next time. I got the Nomad dice, which is the red, and it's got the, on the 1 symbol, it's got the Nomad icon. You can see it there. Yeah, that's the Nomad icon. If I can get it to show. There you go. So that's all the dice I got. I'm pretty excited. I'll have to get a little dice bag for my Infinity dice, because I would put all this together and I would carry it. I'm pretty happy with everything I got. I mean, it's been a long wait. Like I said, it's been 2+ years. I love the source books that they sent. I did, at the level I backed, I get all of the books for the factions. So the Nomad book when it comes out, the Adriana book when it comes out, I get them all as PDFs. And I believe they just did the Hak-Islam book, and they did the Nomad book, I believe, was first. And then the Ariadna book, and then Hak-Islam book is coming, or I may even have it. I don't know. I got to look in my game library. But I get all of those as PDFs. I don't get them as physical books. But I gotta say, man, this is beautiful. If you go to their website, they have also, if you do a search from Modiphius character generator or Infinity character generator or Conan or Star Trek or Mutant Chronicles, they have an online HTML character generator that will help you, and they update it as they release new books. They update it so that it has all the rules in them that those books have. So it's pretty good. Has a couple bugs here and there every so often. I haven't seen too many. It works pretty well for Star Trek. I've made a couple Star Trek characters with it. Used it to make my Conan character. It came out great. So, gosh, I can't stop gushing about this, guys. This is definitely a buy in Mr. Bean's gaming collection. I think it's worth it. I think the production value is awesome. My book, made it across the pond relatively unscathed. The bottom corner down here is bent a little bit, but it didn't affect the pages. Like I said, my one pet peeve was I would have liked it to have the ribbons for bookmarks, and maybe 2 or 3 ribbons would have been great, because this is a book you're going to reference a lot. In fact, this might be, dare I say, one where I'm happy to have the PDF, because the PDF is indexed and hyperlinked, I believe. I'm pretty sure it is. If not, I know Foxit and Adobe, you can put in a keyword and search and it'll come up. So like if I wanted to find out what X pistol does, I could just type in X pistol and it would give me those pages or highlight it, and then I could tab through and find the information I'm looking for. So really well done. Some highlights of the dynamic 2D20 game system featuring cinematic action driven by the twin engines of heat and momentum. The triple battlefields of warfare, info war, and psi war. So info war is basically computer hacking. Psi war is psionic powers. The multifaceted zone system, which brings the game world to life. I'm not sure what they mean by that. I haven't read that far. I'm definitely going to be doing some more reading on this. I might even try to get my local game group. We're playing Mithras right now, but I might get my friend Darren to GM this. I think this might be one that he likes. Our players are kind of into the crunch, and they like the systems where they can statistically manipulate stuff, and this is a game where you can do that. I don't really feel that you can break the system, but you can manipulate it if you choose the right talents and abilities with the right weapons. You can manipulate this pretty well. But the character creation system is you start with a set of statistical values for your attributes, and then based on the choices you make going through your life path, it adjusts those and gives you your skills. And like I said, if you just do a search for the Infinity Character Generator, you'll find it. It's a HTML based website. You just go to it and boom. I'll try to put it in the links for the notes. But yeah, it's pretty solid. You really can't beat it. And I'm like I said, I'm extremely happy. I'm a little disappointed in not little. I am straight out disappointed in the GM screen. It's flimsy. It's garbage. I think if anything, I have it as a PDF because I backed everything at the PDF level, as well as what I just showed you physically. So what I might do is I have the red GM screen. And it's got Pathfinder. I was running Pathfinder playtest, but this GM screen, I've got a review of this GM screen in my archives. Go back and check it. You can get it off of Amazon for $20, $19.99. It comes with D&D 5th edition inserts and Pathfinder 1.0 inserts. So, and I think a little brief adventure. I don't remember. But it's nice because the pages, the art you're seeing in here is 8.5 by 11, and you can see the screen is a little bit wider, and it's a 4-fold screen. So it's the same screen that you have there, but it's 4 panels. I wish it was landscaped instead of portrait, because you can see it's quite big, and when you're sitting at the table, you kind of can't see the board or whatever. But it's a good GM screen. I highly recommend it. It's totally worth the money. So that's what I think about Infinity from Corvus Belli and Modiphius. Part of the reason this took so long is Corvus Belli. How do I put this politely? Hand-holding mums. They had to approve every little step of everything that was done. And while I appreciate that for quality control in a Kickstarter, I mean, once they saw the process that Modiphius has done, and if they looked at the other things that Modiphius was doing, they should have just rubber stamped this and let it go. Modiphius puts out great quality stuff for the most part. To be honest, if they looked at that GM screen, I don't know how that got approved, because I think the guys at Corvus Belli would have said, no, that's too flimsy. They're all role players themselves, and this game started as a role-playing game before it was a miniatures game. So either way, still cool. I'm a little butthurt about the GM screen. I really feel that it's garbage. That's not going to hold up. You throwing that in your backpack, going back and forth to your buddy's house or to the game store, You know, maybe if you're gaming in your own house and you never have to travel with it, it might be okay. But I can just tell that that's going to fall apart in no time, especially as much as you're going to have to reference it because it's a pretty detailed game. But other than that, I really think, and like I said, I'll just print those pages out. I have the GM screen as a PDF. I'll print them out and put them in that GM screen, and I'll keep that on the shelf to look nice and pretty. Or I might even hang it up on my wall as just use it as wall art, because the pictures are cool if they are a little dark. That's my opinion. You guys may think it's fine. You may feel that the quality is okay. Let me know in the notes below. But I think it's low quality for what I've seen come from Modiphius. You know, when they turn around and charge you, you know, $40 for the GM screen or $29, I think, for the Star Wars GM screen, and that screen, you can stop a bullet with it, or the Mutant Chronicle screen as well, and even the Conan screen. I think that's poor quality. And I don't know if that was a rush issue, or I don't know. I don't know what their logic was. Maybe it cost too much money to print something as along the lines of like the Conan or the Mutant Chronicles GM screen, and they were saving a buck. I don't know. I just know that I'm deeply disappointed in the quality of the GM screen. Hopefully, if they do another one further down the line and they use some thicker quality cardboard and paper stock, I'll probably pick it up because I do like owning the GM screen. So anyway, that's what I think about Corvus Belli's Infinity. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, like and subscribe. Smash that bell to get notified when I post a video. And just so you're aware, I do have a PayPal Me account. The link will be in the show notes. That's where, if you don't want to subscribe to my Patreon, which I hope you do, Patreon helps me pay for all this stuff and keep bringing these reviews. I use that money to pay for game conventions and to pay for computer equipment and to pay for my game books and stuff like that. So I do appreciate it, and all the money goes right back into the channel. And then, you know, obviously, so if you can subscribe to Patreon, that's great. I've got levels at 5, 10, and 15. You can get free games if you subscribe at the $15 level, PDFs. I do some game designer workshops where I get to talk with the developers and stuff. I'm hoping to get the gentleman from Uncharted Worlds on here real soon. Daniel Fox is supposed to come on from Zweihander. So we've got some cool things coming up on the channel. Everything, as always, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. We just busted over 400 subscribers, so I appreciate that to everybody. And as always, peace, hair grease, and Mr. Mean says, as always, be nice.